Well, hello and good morning. It is a lovely morning here in New Delhi, and I'm Charu Shankar.
I'm Satyashree. You are with us on WION Breakfast. But before we take this conversation forward and this wonderful day forward, let's give you a quick heads up on what we've lined up for you today.
On our show today, there's a story about lifestyle diseases and their impact in India.
No morning is complete without a little bit of workout, and today we have Vesna Jacob who will share her fitness mantra with us.
And after fitness, we all get hungry, and so we will have food. For all the food lovers out there, stay tuned as we start our day with WION Breakfast.
And in our Twitter segment, of course, we have to talk about the Twitterati. We bring you 140 character stories of people telling us why they are not millionaires. As always, we've got an action-packed day. Now, you know what, Charu, we've always been starting with the good thoughts of the day because we do believe in counting our blessings. So tell me, what is the wonderful thing that's happened to you today?
Well, I'll tell you about the wonderful thing that happened to me last evening.
Yes.
I managed to sleep a straight 8 hours. And that is that's a gallant thing to happen to me because I have a small baby. So I am very happy
that I
was able to actually clock in 8 hours of sleep.
Yes. 8 hours of sleep has to be the most important thing of the day.
Yes.
Now, my good thought, I was just thinking winter has suddenly come to an end in Delhi.
It has, hasn't it?
It totally
It is getting warmer.
Yes, it is getting warmer, but nothing good about that. What is good about it is every time this winter that sets in Delhi, I look back at one incident that kind of stays very close to my heart. In my younger days as a journalist, there was this time when I was covering winter, impact of winter on people on the streets. And there was this one time where I was outside the hospital and covering people outside the hospital who can't afford a place, who are visiting their relatives inside, admitted.
Right, of course.
At that time, we were shivering because we were on standby. Any moment we're supposed to go on air. Now, at that time, we were shivering, not knowing what to do. I just went up to a place where they had kind of lit a small fire, warming up my hands, and the lady was cooking. She was making rotis, which are like flat breads in India. I was just warming my hands, and she was like, "Do you want to eat a little bit?" I was like,
"My God. It's amazing.
I'm hungry."
I mean, charity comes from the most unexpected places sometimes.
That's right. So she gives me her rotis, and she had a pack with her with some dry egg.
And she shared
curry.
That with you.
She shared half of that.
Oh my
egg curry and this, and I was like, "Thank you." I took it with me to my team, and I shared it with the entire team. I was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." Now, how can I ever repay this great, wonderful deed?
Charity really is found in the most unexpected places. But of course, we come back to our show now after sharing our good thought because we really must count our blessings. Now, a lot has been happening across the world. So let's take a look at all that news in 60 seconds.
Two days after being sacked as party's treasurer, former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister O. Paneerselvam defies orders, writes to banks to not permit anyone operate party accounts without his consent.
Masood Azhar remains protected by China, but the US now appears to be on India's side, moving a proposal to freeze Azhar's assets and restrict his travel.
British MPs on Wednesday voted to trigger the Brexit bill, commencing process to authorize the country's exit from the European Union after 44 years of membership.
US President Donald Trump lashed out at the department store chain Nordstrom on Wednesday for dropping his daughter Ivanka Trump's clothing line. And that, of course, was the news around the world. But
in 60 seconds.
In 60 seconds. Now, on WION Breakfast, we are very big on health and fitness. But once in a while, I do like to indulge in some junk food.
Oh, me too. In fact, you know, you keep talking about fitness all the time. And I want to tell you, Charu, I eat a lot of junk food and I love my junk food.
I do love my junk food too. I mean, fast food has its own certain flavor, something really amazing about it. But that does not mean that we continue to live in ignorance. If you are eating, you must know what you're eating. And so we'd like to bring you this story. Of course, once in a while, we all like to indulge in junk food. Burgers, chocolates, fizzy drinks. They may be appetizing to our taste buds, but they have become the reason for 38 million lifestyle-related deaths globally.
That's right. After several movements in first world countries to curb on fatty foods, citizens in India are now demanding similar action. WION's Manoj Kevalramani and Shubhangi Daga brings you this report.
It is a threat that is quietly ballooning. Lifestyle diseases are on the rise in India. Latest studies show that 1 in every 3rd child in the country has an unhealthy BMI. The World Health Organization estimates that globally around 38 million people die each year from non-communicable diseases. A bulk of these deaths occur in low and middle income countries. Dr. Shefalika Goenka tells us that lifestyle diseases, including obesity, cardiovascular diseases and diabetes, have a prevalence of 22 to 28% in India.
On one side, we have a lot of malnutrition. So 48% of our children are malnourished and anemic. But on the other side, we also have a lot of obesity. So we have this double burden of diseases which are happening. And India has the 3rd largest number of obese people in the world.
Excess consumption of packaged foods, sugary beverages and physical inactivity are the primary reasons for the increased prevalence of lifestyle diseases.
I usually like to eat junk foods like burger, pizza, but my doctor has said me not to eat that. So nowadays I'm eating green vegetables, which is like really healthy for me, and I'm hating it.
What's more, with the growing dependence on technology, fewer children are engaged in outdoor activities. On an average, children spend 1 to 2 hours daily on mobile phones and gaming devices.
I like to play PS4. I play games in mobile phone.
Experts say that parents and schools need to ensure that children engage in physical exercise daily and eat healthy food. Some are even calling on the government to consider taxing packaged foods and sugary drinks.
All laws which will make healthy foods cheaper, unhealthy foods more expensive will benefit the society. And to add to the fat tax, I would also add sugar tax. The laws, sugary beverages, sugar-sweetened beverages are important drivers to obesity.
But not everyone believes that a tax will yield the desired outcome.
I think fat tax has not worked anywhere in the world, and in some countries it was actually rolled back. And this is basically it's a mindset of a very lazy bureaucracy who's not thinking of the root cause and fixing the problem, and instead pleasing their masters, the political masters, by introducing a new way to tax people. Because it has never worked, it won't work.
So what can be done to tackle this growing trend of obesity and lifestyle diseases among children? The answer perhaps lies in not only healthy eating and exercise habits at home and in schools, but also policies that provide open spaces for children to play, promote nutritious food, and regulate targeting of advertising of fatty foods towards children. With Shubhangi Daga in New Delhi, Manoj Kevalramani, WION.
That is always a topic which involves everybody. Junk food,
yes,
adults, children, everybody. And I think children are the ones who are most affected.
No, absolutely, because they're growing up with these habits.
And it's all around them. It's all around them.
You know, Satya, recently we had this conversation, and we were talking about how the government is planning to impose a tax on fatty foods. It's called the fatty tax.
Right. That's correct.
And how that was up for debate. And
yes,
you told me about a very you told me about a very interesting film.
That's right. It's called Super Size Me. Now, Super Size Me, oh my God, it's had a huge impact on me. I made copies of that films. I remember for the longest time I was distributing it to all children I met who loved junk food and especially McDonald's. Now, you know, I like some of McDonald's food too, but this is a film about one person on an experiment to demonstrate how junk food from McDonald's has transformed his entire lifestyle. He physically expanded
completely.
Exactly,
became
and
super
that's right. And throughout the film, he was being diagnosed by this one doctor at every step of that 1 month that he was on a junk food diet.
My God.
Yeah. So while it is a wonderful, you know, a weekend thing, or once in a while, all of us like to indulge in junk food, but then how can we ignore the downside of it?
No, we cannot ignore it.
The deaths being caused
this is,
by
absolutely. This is one thing that you absolutely cannot ignore, and we have to be very, very careful. We have to know what it is that we're doing to our bodies. You cannot be in ignorance of this. Well, moving on with our show now, we bring you a wonderful story from Myanmar, actually, and this is about gemstones. Now, Myanmar produces more than 80% of the world's rubies, yet decades of isolation under the former military junta means the industry remains cloaked in mystery.
That's correct. Now, the focus on it is sharpening after the US lifted sanctions barring imports of the gems in recognition of the country's shift towards democracy. Here's a report.
Every week, Eamon Tun prays he will find the ruby that changes his life. The teenager works as a miner in Magok, a valley in central Myanmar dubbed the Land of Rubies. Last year, one stone found here sold for a record $30 million. Over 80% of the world's supplies of the gems come from Myanmar, and prices are expected to surge after the US lifted a ban on imports in October.
I hope to get a big, high-quality gemstone. Then I can have the cash to start my own business.
But experts say few of the profits will filter through to workers in the sector, which is still dominated by the army. Ex-military men control the industry regulator, and resources watchdog the NRGI says a major army holding company decides who can access mines. Many private mines are thought to be owned by foreigners who smuggle the best gems to Hong Kong and Bangkok to be made into jewellery.
Red and blue stones mostly went to the black market in Thailand.
Locals hope the end of US sanctions and a jump in American tourists will mean more money in their pockets. Already US dealers have been scouting out Magok's mines and holding talks with the ruby industry.
Gemstones prices will rise. We estimate a 50% increase, definitely at least a third.
But activists say US companies must ensure mines meet international rules on labour conditions, respect for the environment and tracing profits. Otherwise, Myanmar's famous rubies may lose their shine.
Gems, precious gems, always again take me back to some movie or the other that I've seen, or some book or the other that I may have read. Black Diamond.
Or diamonds are a girl's best friend. Ding,
all
ding.
right then. Always a positive spin on things. Well, with that, let's slip into a very short break. But we will be back with more stories. So come right back. You're with us on WION Breakfast. Welcome back. You're with us on WION Breakfast. Now, every January, thousands of voodoo worshippers, joined by crowds of tourists and descendants of slaves, head to the Gate of No Return monument in Benin, erected in 1992 in memory of those packed on ships bound for the New World.
That's right. It is a living reminder that the small Beninese coastal town of Ouida once was the muster point for the black slave trade on the southern coast of West Africa. Here's a report.
The moment believers feel a spirit entering their body, in a trance, reaching a sacred state. This former slave trading post hosts Benin's annual Voodoo festival.
Tout Africain est né vaudou.
Every African is born voodoo. That is why our ancestors, our parents, our grandparents were taken into slavery. Now their spirits are coming back to us here.
Leurs esprits, quand on les amène là-bas, leurs esprits retournent chez nous ici.
The festival takes place at the Gate of No Return, built in memory of the millions of slaves that passed through the small coastal town. The slaves spread voodoo to the Caribbean, Brazil and the United States.
C'est à partir de Ouida que le vaudou s'est répandu.
Voodoo started in Ouida and then spread all over the world. You have to recognize that. It can't be denied. What is voodoo? It's nature, the four elements of nature, respecting them, knowing them and respecting their principles.
Ouida became a point of pilgrimage for voodoo's 50 million followers when the festival was founded in 1993. Visitors come from all around the world, many on an ancestral quest, others on a spiritual journey.
I wanted to see for myself what voodoo really was. And here it's a national religion, and it's not the negative aspect of putting pins in dolls and working magic for evil. The people who practice voodoo are very lovely people. They're very kind.
Voodoo and slavery linked forever on this strip of land, where perhaps for some there's a chance to make peace with the past.
Well, you know, Charu, there's a lot of development happening in Tamil Nadu, so we'll take a short detour and get you an update. Now, 2 days after being suspended by Leader of Legislative Assembly Shashikala Natarajan as party's treasurer, former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister O. Selvam insisted that he will remain in the post and wrote to 2 regional banks in the state not to permit anyone operate party accounts without his consent. Earlier on Wednesday, Selvam wrote to the banks, and I quote, in accordance with Bylaw 20, Subclause 5 in the party constitution, in continuance of my appointment as treasurer of AIADMK party by Purachi Tilaivamma, I request you not to permit anyone else to operate our AIADMK party's current account without my written consent and instructions. Earlier on Tuesday night, Selvam was sacked as AIADMK treasurer by Shashikala following his revelations that he was under tremendous pressure from Shashikala to resign as Tamil Nadu Chief Minister.
The number, anybody can claim that they have the numbers, but there is a proper system for proving majority. Either the governor should have a head count, or the majority should be proved in the floor of the house. That is the way, that is the only way where we can ensure majority support. So as long as both the things are not happening, it is just a claim by both the parties. That's all.
What is the governor doing? For the last 2 days, all these things are going on. The governor is not at all coming to the state. The governor should have immediately rushed to Tamil Nadu, taken note of the situation. Constitutionally, he should have acted. Tamil Nadu people, the only way out will be, the mandate was only for Jayalalitha. After Jayalalitha, if at all anyone wants to continue, there must be unanimity and there must be a single voice.
You know, there are always updates coming in from Tamil Nadu. Yes. A lot of developments happening over there. Now, to give us the latest and to analyze the situation, we've got Kalyani Shankar, a political analyst, joining us from New Delhi. Kalyani Shankar, if you can hear us, if you could give us an understanding of what these developments mean for the state of Tamil Nadu.
Well, you see, fight is getting intensified from both sides. You know, Shashikala sacked Selvam has feedback saying that you can't draw money. After all, the party has a lot of funds and the money is very important, which is why Shashikala immediately, as soon as Selvam gave that midnight press conference, she just sacked him. So the money is there. And the second thing is about the numbers. So Shashikala has herded all her MLAs in one place, and she might parade them today before the governor, and he's supposed to meet them today, which is why they are supposed to cancel their visit to Delhi in today's thing. But the point is that parading MLA is not going to help, because the Supreme Court has already, in the Bombay judgment, has said that it is only on the floor of the House the strength of any chief minister can be determined. So even if they take them to the Raj Bhavan and then parade before them, it has happened many times before. So that is not going to help. It's what Vidyasagar Rao is planning to do that is what matters, and he might even meet Shashikala, he might even meet Paneerselvam, he might go through the process, but I understand that he probably might be waiting for the Supreme Court judgments on this disproportionate assets case as well as the Fera case on Shashikala. So I don't see anything, being resolved today itself, unless, he really has to go by the number and then swear Shashikala in. But, the fact that he's delayed this past 2-3 days, he was not even in Chennai, and he's just rushing back after a lot of criticism from Shashikala's camp that he was delaying, the swearing in of her. So I think you have to wait to see, as far as I could see. The only thing is now the action shifts to Governor's Raj Bhavan. So that's what we have to see, what he's doing, how he's going to take it forward. And he has been consulting the legal experts, and I believe that Mukul Rohtaki, our Attorney General, has suggested that he should wait for the Supreme Court judgment. So let's see how it goes. But today is going to be full of action with the parading of the MLAs, and the Chief Minister, Paneerselvam, is in contact with the Governor because, after all, he is the interim Chief Minister. So after that, of course, Shashikala will certainly take a claim. So it's going to be action-packed day today.
Kalyani Shankar, I'm joined by my colleague Charu over here. Charu, now this is clearly a very tricky situation, and I'm sure there's talk about president's rule over there. I'm sure the governor must also be in, the governor could also get involved over here.
Absolutely, Satya. We were covering this story as it unfolded yesterday as well. And now we have our correspondent, Nishita Virendra, who's joining us from Chennai, and she is on the ground. So, Nishita, can you tell us what exactly is happening over there right now?
Well, we're currently right outside the Poets Garden residence of Shashikala, also the former residence of the same house where J. Jayalalitha lived. Now, this has been the center of quite a bit of activity since O. Paneerselvam's startling statements the night before yesterday. And today too, what is important really to see at Poets Garden is how many of these MLAs will come in to meet Shashikala. Let's not forget that the figure that has been given by the AIADMK has been about 130 MLAs. What about the other 4 to 5 MLAs? What about them? Have they completely shifted camp to O. Paneerselvam? So that will be an interesting development to see. But from what it appears now, after yesterday's show of strength at the AIADMK headquarters, as far as the numbers on the floor of the house is concerned, Shashikala seems to have an upper hand. But on the other hand, O. Paneerselvam has the larger wave of popularity as far as the people, as far as the common man is concerned, because he has gone on to speak what many people were thinking on the streets of Tamil Nadu. Yesterday we did a reality check. We went about asking people, the common man from different walks of life, whether it is those working in corporate jobs or whether it is those selling fruits by the roadside. Almost 100% of them went on to state that they feel O. Paneerselvam should continue as the Chief Minister, as they trust him more than they trust Shashikala, because they feel that J. Jayalalitha had rested more trust in O. Paneerselvam, and we know the kind of relationship that Jayalalitha and Shashikala had, that had gone through quite a bit of turbulent times, even accusations coming Shashikala's way that it was her and her family's doing that really led to Jayalalitha going behind bars in the disproportionate assets case. So a lot of mistrust against VK Shashikala, people feeling that she is not contesting in any elections and is taking claim to form the government in the state of Tamil Nadu, and that is not fair, as they did not vote for her in the first place. So there seems to be a clear divide in the state of Tamil Nadu. On one hand, you have the legislators as of now who are backing VK Shashikala, but O. Paneerselvam has also gone on record and stated that many of these MLAs have stayed with him, have stayed in touch with him over phone. So as Ms. Kalyani pointed out earlier, even if VK Shashikala manages to hold the flock together until they are paraded before the governor. Even if the governor accepts the proposal from the MLAs to make VK Sasikala the chief minister of the state, she will have to prove her majority on the floor of the house, and that will really be the acid test for both of these leaders. But on one hand, this could be make or break for Sasikala. On the other hand, O Pannirselvam seems to enjoy a lot of sympathy among the people. So even if he does not manage to win this time around, even if he does not manage to retain power as the chief minister of the state of Tamil Nadu, but a huge sympathy wave coming along his way.
Nishita, yes, Pannirselvam clearly has the trust and Shashikala clearly has the numbers. Now, I can understand this is a situation where what can we expect the governor to do in a case like this? Is also, I mean, is a president's rule a possibility? Precisely from the governor, what is it that we can expect?
Well, as far as the governor is concerned, he can either accept O Pannirselvam's claim that he can show majority on the floor of the house and ask O Pannirselvam to do so. He can accept the resolution, the proposal given to him by the MLAs of AIADMK saying that they are backing Shashikala, and they might be asked to show their strength on the floor of the house as well. Those are two options. And the third option, as you mentioned, President's rule, if the governor chooses to place the assembly in suspended animation, saying that the very root of democracy, the very intention behind this democratic setup has been defeated because of the bickering between Sasikala and O Pannirselvam, both of whom are not the CM candidates that the people had voted for. Then probably the governor could take the route of placing the assembly in suspended animation and imposing President's rule. However, that seems to be an unlikely move at the moment. Also, let's not forget that VK Sasikala has also gone on record and stated that she feels that the governor has been delaying the entire process on purpose. Also, the news is emerging that soon in the next few days, the Supreme Court might declare its verdict in the disproportionate assets case. And if this verdict goes against Shashikala, then it will spell doom for her, because she can contest elections only 6 years from the date of release after her time in jail, if she's convicted concludes. So these are really the options that are before the governor.
Stay on with us, Nishita. Now, AIADMK leader M. Thambidurai, along with 13 party MLAs, left for National Capital on Wednesday night to hold talks with President Pranab Mukherjee amidst the ongoing political crisis in Tamil Nadu. Now, earlier on Tuesday, Thambidurai had dismissed the claim of former Chief Minister O Pannirselvam that he was forced to resign. Thambidurai insisted that the AIADMK General Secretary Shashikala Natarajan will triumph against all odds.
They are having already majority. Only you want to represent the Rashtrapati. I already resigned. Okay. What is the use of speaking about him? Already resigned, accepted by the governor. Okay. Then what he will prove?
Nishita, if you're still with us, now clearly this is going to cause a lot of delay. There is this entire state of speculation in the state of Tamil Nadu right now. Now, with the governor also taking action perhaps at some point, and the possibility of a president's rule, clearly there is a delay. Now, who do you think will benefit with this delay?
Well, as far as the delay is concerned, the benefit could go towards O Pannirselvam, because the more this process gets delayed, the date for Supreme Court's verdict in the disproportionate assets case might come through. And looking at the steps being taken by the AIADMK, it is obvious they too are seeing some sort of trouble coming to the fore. A lot of mistrust that is surrounding around VK Sasikala as far as the people are concerned. To the claims made by O Pannirselvam that despite the MLAs that have extended their support to Shashikala, they actually have their sympathies with O Pannirselvam, and they have maintained contact with him despite the visible split that we can see in the party. So this insecurity of sorts can be seen within the AIADMK as well, looking at how VK Sasikala, although the party has gone on to say that the party is united, they have put their weight firmly behind VK VK Sasikala, but the MLAs continue to be hoarded in the fear of horse trading or in the fear of that they will change sides altogether. Secondly, the MPs along with the Deputy Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Thambidu Rai, have headed to Delhi last night and have stated that they will be interacting with the President and will be pushing for the process to speeden up and for the Governor to really give his green signal for Shashikala to form the government. So yes, you can see that Shashikala's faction is seeing trouble coming to the fore, whether it is in the form of lack of popular support or whether it is in the form of the fear that the AIADMK cadres and leaders might themselves let go of Shashikala because of the various suspicions around her and the lack of popularity that she enjoys among the masses, because this could prove to be a major problem in the long term. Lucky for the AIADMK that they have come to power just about a year back. Had this been towards the end of their tenure, had this been towards the end of their term as the government, then they would have paid a heavy price.
Indeed, Nishita, thank you for all these updates, and we will keep coming back to you for more updates as developments happen in the state of Tamil Nadu.
Well, earlier on Wednesday, we spoke to AIADMK leader Dr. V. Methrayan, an O. Paneerselvam loyalist. Well, let's listen in to what he had to say.
It is not the question of how many MLAs or MPs. It is a question of how the people, the sentiments of the people of Tamil Nadu and the cadre of AIADMK at the grassroots, and the overwhelming support which the cadre of AIADMK and the people of Tamil Nadu have given to OPS is simply astounding. So that is the sense of the state. Upon the governor's agenda, if he requests OPS to be seen, OPS will go and see. Otherwise, what the governor decides is his prerogative. We don't see any surprise. We feel that we are confident OPS will continue to be the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu.
O. Paneerselvam also spoke to the media at his Chennai residence on Wednesday. This is a day after he claimed that he was forced to step down in order to make way for Sasikala Natarajan to become the Chief Minister. Let's hear into what he had to say.
அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய 135 சட்டமன்ற மாண்புமிகு சட்டமன்ற உறுப்பினர்களும் உறுதியாக எனக்கு ஆதரவு தந்து கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள்.
So, are you getting any support from BJP, Prime Minister, or NDA?
பாரதிய ஜனதா கட்சி மத்தியில் ஆளுகின்ற நிலையில் இருக்கிறது. நாங்கள் இங்கே மாநிலத்தில் ஆளுகின்ற நிலையில் இருக்கின்றோம். ஏற்கனவே மாண்புமிகு இதய தெய்வம் புரட்சித் தலைவி அம்மா அவர்கள் தமிழக மக்களுடைய உரிமைகளுக்கு நாங்கள் தொடர்ந்து குரல் கொடுப்போம். பங்கம் ஏற்படுகின்ற பொழுது அதனுடைய நியாயத்தை நாங்கள் எடுத்துச் சொல்வோம். மக்களுக்கு ஏற்றுக்கொள்ளக்கூடிய திட்டங்களைத்தான் நாங்கள் வரவேற்போம். மக்களுக்கு விரோதமாக இருக்கின்ற திட்டங்களை மத்தியில் யார் ஆட்சியில் இருந்தாலும் நாங்கள் அதை எதிர்ப்போம் என்று சொல்கிறார். அதே நிலைதான் எங்களுக்கும்.
So, how many MLAs you are expecting to come with you, sir?
சட்டமன்ற உறுப்பினர் அனைவருமே எங்களோடு தான் இருக்கிறார்கள்.
So, how much support do you have from public? You must have talked to many people across Tamil Nadu.
இன்றைக்கு இருக்கின்ற சூழ்நிலையில் தமிழகத்தினுடைய பொதுமக்கள் அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய புரட்சி தலைவர் எம்ஜிஆர் அவருடைய ரத்தத்தின் ரத்தங்களாக என்ற மாண்புமிகு அம்மா அவர்கள் தங்களுடைய ஒவ்வொரு உரையிலும் சொல்வார்களே, அந்த கட்சியினுடைய ஆணிவராக விளங்கிக் கொண்டிருக்கின்ற செயல் வீரர்கள் அனைவரும் அன்பை நாங்கள் பெற்றிருக்கிறோம்.
Last question, sir. Like you said, you will order a probe on Jayalalitha's death, proper retired judge.
திரும்ப திரும்ப ஏற்கனவே மற்ற டிவி சேனலுக்கு சொன்ன பதிலேயே உங்களுக்கு பதிலாக நீங்கள் எடுத்துக்கொள்ளும் என்று உங்களை கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன்.
Well, we also have A. Sarvanam on the phone line with us. He is the leader of the DMK. Sir, can you tell us about the political crisis which is happening in the southern state of Tamil Nadu right now? It seems to be worsening.
Yeah, the biggest challenge would be, or the biggest challenge for the governor would be the resignation letter given by Mr. O. Paneerselvam. He has claimed that it was threatened and coerced and obtained from him. So, in that situation, what is how is he going to deal with this? Is he going to treat the resignation as a genuine one and go ahead, or is he going to treat that it was tainted? And if it is so, will the resignation be void ab initio? This will decide the course. If he is going to decide that the resignation letter is obtained by threat, then he is going to invite Mr. O. Paneerselvam. to form the ministry and explain, prove his majority on the floor of the House, or else if he's going to say that registration letter is valid, then he has to definitely necessarily allow Mrs. Shashikala to swear in, since she has the requisite number of MLAs as of now. It's going to be an interesting day ahead.
Sure, it is an interesting day ahead, definitely. Now, sir, is there a possibility of the DMK supporting Paneerselvam?
See, our leader, Mr. M.K. Stalin, was very, very clear that he was not supporting Paneerselvam. He supported the government, Tamil Nadu government headed by Mr. Paneerselvam on certain issues. We are a responsible opposition and we play the role. We only want to play the role of the opposition. We think it is incumbent upon the governor to install a fully functional government in the state of Tamil Nadu.
So, Mr. Saravanan, what, according to you, what is it that could be the next step at this point? Clearly, the situation is such that OPS has the trust with him and Shashikala has the numbers with her. According to you, how do you see the situation panning out at this point?
See, now it has become a question of legality versus morality and ethical practices. So, the governor has to take a call. I think everything depends upon how the governor is going to interpret the situation within the framework of the constitution. If you look at what had happened, in other places, the only thing is, everywhere, when there is such confusion, the governor has ordered a floor test in earlier situations. I think he will go ahead with that. But the problem here was, from the beginning, that the governor was not transparent. He never attributed reasons for his not coming here or for not acting in one way or the other. He has been transparent, whatever may be his decision. Like, the governor has the discretion under our constitutional framework. So he has to, he can do whatever within this framework, but he has to be transparent. He cannot just avoid coming to Tamil Nadu and not give reasons for what's happening. That is the one which is baffling everybody, and these conspiracy theorists go haywire. So if he is being transparent, he can take any decision.
Thank you, Mr. Sarvan, and thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday morning. Now, on that note, we'll take a very short break, but do come back. We've got a few more things lined up for you on WION Breakfast. Welcome back. You're with us on WION Breakfast. Now, Charu, a lot has been happening around in the world, and in particular in the southern state of Tamil Nadu, as a result of which we had a lot of stuff planned on our breakfast. But the vagaries of television production, that breaking news it is that governs our lives. Now, before moving forward with our the favorite BTL section, which is Between the Lines, let's take a quick look at the headlines making news at this hour.
2 days after being sacked as the party's treasurer, former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister O. Paneerselvam defies orders. He writes to banks to not permit anyone to operate party accounts without his consent.
Amidst the ongoing political crisis in Tamil Nadu, hectic parleys scheduled for today. Tamil Nadu Governor Vidyasagar Rao to hold meetings with Shashikala Natarajan and party MLAs. M. Tambidurai in the capital to hold talks with the President, Pranab Mukherjee.
And Congress demands an apology from Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his scathing remarks on former PM Manmohan Singh. Stage a walkout in the upper house of the Parliament.
MPs overwhelmingly agreed to let the government begin the UK's departure from the European Union as they voted for the Brexit bill.
And over to the US, where the President, Donald Trump, in controversy again after he criticizes retailer Nordstrom for dropping his daughter Ivanka's clothing line. Well, those, of course, were the headlines this hour. But now, let's see what the newspapers have for us as Satya and I pick them up and read between the lines.
Well, the day is full of action.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we plan something and then a lot of things happen around us. Well, like they say, the best laid plans of mice and men.
That's true.
Now, moving to another best thing that we consider, the most wonderful thing that technology has done to mankind, the Apple iPhone.
Oh my God, I love the Apple iPhone. I think like touchscreen technology literally changed the way we communicate.
That's right. But you know what? Clearly, this is not an advertisement for Apple over here. I'm reading the headlines from the Mint, which says, Apple's trash can be India's treasure.
Okay.
Now, this is a very important article, I think, because although it talks about Apple Inc. plans to import used iPhones into India, and it looks like it's the first clash between the parties as they negotiate a broader array of concessions. Now, what we're talking about is, on the one hand, the US company wants to be able to refurbish and resell its handsets in India, where new devices are priced out of reach of common consumers. On the other hand, the government is rightfully concerned that the country will become a dumping ground for the world's electronic junk, while missing out on the prospect of becoming a manufacturing hub.
Yes, I mean, I would say the same thing. I mean, why should we get old technology? Old technology is really outdated.
Now, that's
technology
right.
gets outdated like this. When you snap your fingers and poof, it's already old.
It does. Now, it's an interesting argument here, because what this article is trying to say is that iPhones, when they are launched in India, they come at a significantly higher price as they are in the rest of the countries, or the US for that matter. Now, one, and two, you have to wait for a very long time before it actually comes to India, because it's never the first launch in India.
That's true.
Now,
also,
as a result, India is a country where telephones the mobile telephony has penetrated the lowest common denominator of our social fabric. Now, in such a case, imagine a situation where your grocer and your driver, all of those people who can't afford very, very expensive phones can now afford an iPhone.
An iPhone from a year ago.
That's correct, but then it is an iPhone. I mean, it is, it's again going back to the conversation where is the phone that we carry a status symbol, a utility tool, or is it a truly a useful and, an integral part of our lives?
But when you update technology, Satya, it also updates things like your security features, things like it becomes more compatible with everything that's happening on the World Wide Web. So it's not just about a status symbol to not have the latest iPhone. It is also about genuinely being on a back foot when it comes to the latest technology.
Now, there's another downside to that. Remember this, even though iPhone may come out with its state-of-the-art technology, iPhone next, it's still manufactured in China. So, one, that, and two, the downside of this is that India is still a dump yard, a junk yard for all the electronic debris in the world. Yeah. So I think there is this there's dual side to this. I don't know. I think it's a good thing that we can all afford the iPhone first, and it's manufactured in India. So because according to the FDI rules, there is a certain percentage that has to be manufactured. You've got to get local locals involved in doing this. That's the upside, but the downside is that even though you do have an iPhone, which one may be vying for as the next thing to buy. It's still not the latest.
It's not quite the one that you want. Okay,
it's like a.
But it's a good argument. I think there's a good argument to be made here.
Yes,
definitely. All right. Well, moving on to my article, now I have this is actually an exhibition that I plan to go to on Friday. This is an exhibition of architectural sketches. Now, these are actually sketches that were made by architects of buildings that went on to become very famous buildings. But these are the initial doodles of the architects as the germ of the idea came to their minds.
Well, architects as artists.
Architects are artists who don't sign on their drafts. On the buildings.
That's right.
I mean, that's that's literally the only thing that's missing. But otherwise, a building can very well be a piece of art. I mean, we have some very famous famous buildings across history, really. Look at the Taj Mahal. I mean,
Oh,
I mean, you have really iconic buildings around the world which have made history.
Yeah.
And even some of the modern day architects are, they're artists in their own rights.
It's like art in your imagination and bringing it down to a scientific blueprint.
Absolutely. And this is the germ of the ideas. This is literally like the initial doodles, like when they thought, all right, a building is required in so-and-so city. These are the requirements of the people of that city. These are the requirements of the person who's making this building. It's going to house a museum, or it's going to house whatever, an office space, a school.
Right.
And then they think of all these utilities, and then they start to draw and create. And so these are the initial sort of germs of the ideas. So, for example, over here, Swiss-German artist Paul Keyes spoke of the relationship between the buried roots and the visible crown of the tree, suggesting that nobody expects them to be identical. So these are literally the buried roots of the idea that actually became this huge structure.
What a thought. I think this brings the focus back to art, like even something as scientific as a blueprint or architectural skeleton actually has a lot of imagination, has a lot of art going into it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just well, it's just not painted beautifully with colors, but it's really interesting how the focus is very really coming back to art.
I have a book on Leonardo da Vinci's. I almost said Leonardo DiCaprio.
No.
I'm a big fan of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, clearly.
No, but I am talking about Da Vinci. I'm also a very big fan of Da Vinci. I have a book about his initial sketches, and he used to doodle a lot, and he was a genius and a Renaissance man. So his sketches are so extraordinary, and the ideas that he's trying to sort of get out there. So a lot of them didn't make it, like his flying machine, and a lot of those ideas didn't exactly quite work.
There's one other thing about
so interesting.
And there's one other thing about Leonardo da Vinci which is equally exciting, is that he could write backwards.
Oh, really?
He could write backwards.
And that man was a genius. He really was.
Can I write something backwards to you and show that even I'm a genius? Just kidding.
You can write backwards.
I can totally write
Satya, you never cease to amaze me. You just never cease to amaze me.
Well, on that note, let me take you to something a little more poignant, which kind of touched me in a way that little else could have in the recent past. I'm looking at the Mint again on page 9. It's an article. It's called Digital Edge by Osama Manzar.
Okay.
It's titled A Letter from an Uncounted Boy.
A letter from an uncounted boy?
Yes, uncounted boy. Now, I'm going to first read out parts of this, because after this, seriously, and there's some things in life which you read and then you're like, what just happened? No words.
Okay.
No words. Dear Indian citizen, I live in the little run of Kutch along Gujarat's western coast and spent 8 months in India's salt desert, where my family, part of the Agaria tribe, extracts salt. From September to April, the entire region is a big salt desert. But May onwards, it really becomes hot, and then it becomes to rain. Then it begins to rain. I'm sorry. It really becomes hot. Yeah, and we move in May to the periphery of LRK, to our village. Now, the entire the article starts in this manner. The entire article is about his life as a tribal living in a tribal village, and how that tribe is not even counted in the census.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they have begun
so he's literally the unaccounted for boy.
It's literally an uncounted person. Now, again, we want to take a quick break over here and give you an update. The U.S. Senate on Wednesday confirmed Senator Jeff Sessions as the new Attorney General. And Sessions was confirmed by a slim majority of 52-47 votes. The Alabama senator is known for his tough stance on immigration policy and his fervent support for U.S. President Donald Trump.
Sessions has been under fierce criticisms by Democrats due to his alleged remarks in favor of white supremacist group, the Ku Klux Klan.
Einstein? No. Mr. John.
The US President Donald Trump on Wednesday lashed out at federal judges over his travel ban. The president insisted the order banning immigrants from selected 7 Muslim countries was issued in favor of the security of the nation. The measure was suspended last Friday in a lower federal court, reopening borders to thousands of migrants barred from the country. The 9th Circuit Court of Appeals is expected to rule on the ban by the end of the week.
He may by proclamation, and for such period as he shall deem necessary. So here it is. People coming in. Suspend the entry of all aliens, right? That's what it says. It's not like, again, a bad high school student would understand this. Anybody. I don't ever want to call a court biased, so I won't call it biased. And we haven't had a decision yet. But courts seem to be so political, and it would be so great for our justice system if they would be able to read a statement and do what's right. And that has to do with the security of our country, which is so important.
Well, like we said, for the best laid plans of mice and men, we had a lot more lined up for you, but as it is, we're just out of time, and that's about all the time we have for you. But do catch us again tomorrow, same time. This is Satyashree Gandham signing off.
And this is Charu Shankar, and we will see you tomorrow for another serving of WION Breakfast.